Today's the day. I don't know if today's the day, but I'm gonna try. So today, when I say today's the day, what I mean is I may be selling my GT500 today. There is an M5 CS about 10 minutes away from me. I test drove it already. I made some videos about it. I drove some other cars. I just can't get over the M5 CS. I love it. And there's no reason to keep this car and have an M5 CS. They're just too redundant, and I only have one garage spot right now. So this would have to go. And so I'm gonna drive over to the dealership. They've lowered the price a little bit, not enough, but if they give me what I consider to be a fair offer on taking the GT500, then I will sell them the GT500 and I'll take their M5 CS today. So this is a long overdue video. I've had this for over a year, never made a video about the car. And I mentioned in another video the reason why is because I feel like if I was gonna make a video about it, that I wanted to do a really good job because I like this car so much that it deserves a good job done on the video side of it. And I'm not really good at making videos, as you may know if you've already seen my videos. So this is kind of just a Hail Mary that will be like the video I make about this car that's not that great. If I sell it today, because then I will no longer have the car to do a video. What I really wanted to do, and I even was planning on doing it this week, I was planning on making one of those rear point of view videos, kind of like with this camera right here. That's an Insta360 X3, and you can like stick that on a mount and stick that on a selfie stick to the back window here, and then the camera hangs up like right here. And then as the car's driving, the selfie stick becomes invisible, and you just hear like, you see the back of the car and you hear the exhaust, and that's by far the best part about this car is the way that the motor sounds and the exhaust sounds. So that's what I really wanted to do, but it may not happen. But the good news is I could always buy another GT500 in the future if I really wanted one again. They're not going to become extinct overnight. So I will continue this video inside the car with the Insta360, which I've never used before. Oh. All right, it looks like the Insta360 is working. This is my first time using it. I've got it kind of on the passenger side of the car. Oh, okay, I think it's in a good spot. Hopefully it's all right, I don't know. It is what it is, right? I'm in a car wash right now. Very loud. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea. Okay, take two. This looks like it's working. I get like a preview of the camera here on my phone. So I'm gonna put the phone down. This is take two because the first take in the car wash didn't go so well. So I just kind of want to go over a quick list of pros and cons. This is mostly for people that are interested in buying a GT500 in the future. So I guess you'd probably be buying a used one, because I don't think if you're watching this pretty close to when I released this video, there are some new ones out there still, but they're not really making them anymore, is my understanding. Okay, let's start with pros. I think it's a lot of car for the money. It's still a very expensive Mustang, but I would consider it a supercar based on its performance, and it's a lot of supercar for the money, basically, if that makes sense. So, 760 horsepower, huge 5.2 liter V8 with a gigantic supercharger on it. Gosh, someone's gonna have to correct me here. I just remember when I looked at the size of the supercharger, it was bigger than some engines. I think it's like 2.6 liters of supercharger. And so yeah, it's a beast, right? So the only thing that is tricky about saying that the price is pretty good, you get a lot of car for the money, from my perspective, is that it does depend on what price you have to pay. What's the best deal you can find. Everyone here, I live in Southern California, everyone wanted like $25,000 over a sticker for one, and the dealerships were not that great to work with, to be honest with you. I found a dealership in another state, and they were awesome, so awesome. I might be remembering this wrong, but I think I paid $5,000 over a sticker with them, and the experience was great. So it was easily worth the $5,000 over sticker. So yeah, okay, I just said a lot of car for the money, in my opinion. Very comfortable. Something you probably wouldn't expect to say about a Mustang, but the seats are great. They're bolstered really well. There also, I think there's a Recaro race seat available, and I did sit in that race seat, and it's okay. But the problem is that when you get the race seats, which you pay more money for, you no longer get the cooled seat option. And I've sat in a lot of cooled seats, and I'm a big judger of the cooled seats, and the Ford makes the best cooled seats that I've sat in. I've sat in Audi cooled seats, BMW cooled seats, Volvo cooled seats. Who am I forgetting here? Mercedes, probably a couple more. I think Ford makes the best. A lot of the other cooled seats, it's just like this little light. I don't know if I could even call it a breeze. You can barely feel it. The Ford cooled seats, it's like you've got your full air duct like pumping to your butt. That sounds terrible. It sounds gross, but it feels great when it's hot outside. You know, it keeps you cooler. It keeps you less sweaty. You know, so I feel like it's nice. You're less sweaty. You got less. I don't know. You want to call it like swamp pants or whatever you want to call it when it's really hot outside. So and that's another thing I like about this. So the seats are great, comfortable. The cooled seats are part of the comfort. And then I would say just the suspension itself is great. It's set up for racing, for a racetrack if you want it to be, but it's also really comfortable. The magnetic ride is great. It's not cushy. It doesn't feel like you're driving a 7 Series BMW or you're driving a tank or anything like that. It feels like you're driving a sports car, but it's also comfortable, and you don't feel like, you know, if you don't have it in like track mode or whatever, it's very good for a daily driver, I would say. And I've been daily driving it, so it has about 5,500 miles on it right now in about a year, and I've got some other cars, so I spread miles out, but this is probably my favorite daily driver that I currently own. That's it, at least it's operational. So let's see, comfort. How about technology? It has really good technology. I mean, it's kind of the things that everyone should have these days for a car that's this new. You should have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You know, it has comfort access. I don't remember what Ford calls it. BMW calls it comfort access. You can walk up to the door handles, the keys in your pocket. You can just walk right. You can open the door. You can lock the door from the outside without clicking the key. You can press it has a push to start button. You don't have to take your key out. I know a lot of this stuff is like, it should be on every car now, but it's not. The sound system's really good. It's not amazing though. It could be better, that's for sure, but it's good. And it's Bowers and Bang & Olufsen, that's what it is. So I don't remember if that was an upgraded sound system, but that's the one that I have. I'd have to go look at the window sticker. It's decent. I think the Bang & Olufsen sound system in my Raptor might be better, but you're also dealing with a bigger truck that has more space to put bigger speakers and bigger amplifiers and all that stuff. So let's see what else. I should have made like a list. I'm not prepared here, guys. I know people have judged my videos for that before. Like, I should have been more prepared. Okay, how about an exhaust note? That's probably the number one. The exhaust note is so good. It's just absolutely amazing. I know that a lot of people like the sound of a V8. A lot of people like the sound of a Mustang V8. This is a whole nother level. A lot of people were obsessed with the GT350, and I'm going to bring that up real quick. I wanted I was going to buy a used GT350. I went and test drove one. I felt like it was too slow. I test drove the GT500. It was instantly, like, not even close, better. So much more power down low. The GT350 felt more like a car I drove that where there's some certain cars where you have to get the RPMs really high to make it feel like it's a fast car. And so the RX-7, RX-8, like rotary cars are like that. The Honda S2000 is like that. I don't like that kind of car. Yeah, it's just not for me. This car has a lot of power immediately as soon as you press the gas pedal, and I do like that. So sound is great. And it's got, the back seats are usable. I had a Nissan GTR. I would say that these back seats are a lot better than a Nissan GTR's back seats. My kids do like going in this car, although my daughter's now 7 and she's fairly tall for her age, and she's kind of to the point where it's a little bit cramped for her to be right behind me. In a perfect world, I probably would switch her to behind the passenger seat because my son is younger than her and he could probably fit better behind me. So I might, if I keep the car, maybe I'll end up switching their seats.
But yeah, so the room in the back seats, I think adults could actually fit back there. It would be very cramped, but you could do it if you needed to. I've been told that the passenger seat's comfortable. It's the same as the driver's seat. My wife doesn't mind coming in here with me. She's driven this car before. She said it was fine to drive. I think it's pretty easy to drive, even though it's an intimidating 760 horsepower. I feel like anyone could drive it. I think it looks really good. So as far as cosmetics go, I think that the design is really, really good. It's the best looking Mustang ever made, in my opinion. It looks aggressive. It screams that when you see it, it looks special. It doesn't look like every other Mustang. I like that because it isn't like every other Mustang. So I think I covered most of the good things I like, and maybe I'll remember some as I start talking about some things I don't like. So I don't like that the seating position is a little bit high. So I'm 6 foot. I've got lots of room above me. So especially if I want to go tracking, I could be wearing a helmet. There's room, but my seat is all the way to the floor, as low as it can go. And I just really wish that I could go lower. This is a problem I've had with other cars. My Nissan GTR had the same problem. My Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution had even worse, but they actually made a kit that lowered your seat in the Evo, and that kit made night and day difference to me. So my Porsche GT3 RS is the best example of a car I've had where you sit low, and I really like that feeling of being low. Right now, when I'm looking at the windshield, my vision is at the top. Like I'm seeing at the top of the windshield, not the middle. I'd rather be in the middle, and I'd rather be lower to the ground. So it's not a big deal. Maybe there's some mods you can get. I wish you could get the race seats with the cooled seats. I wish you could get a sunroof. I know that's kind of a dumb option to ask for in a GT500 because you lose some structural integrity, which means you might have worse performance on the track. But I really like sunroofs, and that's a thing that a lot of cars do. They have, M5 CS, same thing. You get carbon seats. You can't get the cooled seats on that. You can't get a sunroof on that. Let's see, gas mileage. Yeah, so I just filled up the gas tank, and I have 179 miles left until I'm empty. Now, I'm also getting 12.6 miles per gallon right now on average, and I haven't reset the trip since I've owned the car, so I've never reset it. It says that I've had 5,460 miles on this trip, and the car has 5,468 miles. I got the car with 8 miles, so it's never been reset. It says I'm getting 12.6. That's a lot higher than it is than I would expect it to be, I guess I should say. I know that if I'm driving on mostly side streets and not very much freeway, and I'm actually driving it fairly fast, it probably is more like 10 miles per gallon. But the gas tank is tiny. So that's probably one of the biggest complaints, is the thing has terrible fuel economy and a tiny gas tank. They really should have figured out a way to put a bigger gas tank in the car. I know you add weight and all that stuff, but you could watch some YouTubers, a guy named Speed Phenom, and he's taken it to the track, and one of his biggest complaints is he had to literally leave the track event to go fill up his gas tank to come back. And that's pretty annoying. What else? The front splitter is really low. I actually never installed my front splitter. The dealership said, hey, just so you know, like, this is how low it's going to be. You're going to be scraping on everything, and there's no option for a front lift like you could get in some other sports cars. So I think a front lift would be a nice option for this car. Maybe charge for it, but at least make it an option. I just never put it on. I daily drive it, so I don't like scraping on stuff, and I think it looks fine without the front lip. So I have a brand new front lip at home that will get included with the car, whoever I sell it to, whether that's this BMW dealership I go to today or an end user that I put on Auto Trader or whatever. So shoot, there was something else. The sound system I mentioned is pretty good, but I guess I'd almost put it as a con. Considering it's the B&O version, it probably should be better. When you have it cranked up really high, like when you want to listen to music really loud, that's when it really struggles. Low to medium volume, it's pretty clear and nice, but high volumes are not very good. Okay, I know there's a big one I'm forgetting. Yeah, okay. The traction is usually pretty good, but it's very unpredictable. I guess maybe it has something to do with how much you've warmed up the tires, but I've had some situations where the car just started floating. Like, I don't know if you know what I mean by floating, but the rear end was just really floating around, and it didn't seem like I was losing traction, and I wasn't flooring it all the way. And it was, I literally almost crashed a couple times because it just, I don't know what happened. It just really lost grip of the street. Let's see, there was another thing I was thinking about too. Sorry, I'm struggling. I know there was one major thing. Oh, turning radius. That's what it was. Very bad turning radius. Doing the U-turns is ridiculous. I think this has a worse turning radius than my Raptor, if I had to guess. This car, if they put all-wheel steering on this GT500, if they could do it for the next generation, all-wheel steering, that would be amazing. This car would be so much more nimble. It feels so much more like flickable. It'd be a better daily driver. It'd probably be a lot better on the track. It would be better for everything. I think same thing as, like I said, the front lift. Just charge for it. You know, make it $4,000 or something for it. Make it an option. I would easily pay for that. So I think I pretty much covered all the main stuff. The car sounds great. It feels great. It's comfortable. You can get kids in the back, but it's not perfect. But it is one of the most perfect cars I've ever owned, for what you'd expect it to be, right? So gas mileage isn't great, and there's some other little things, but overall, highly recommend it. Like, I'd give it a 10 out of 10, as long as you can afford the gas. Hopefully, people will say, oh, you can afford the car, you should be able to afford the gas. Well, hopefully, probably not going to be daily driving, probably not driving a car like this as much as I do, and so maybe the gas won't be as big of a deal. It might be more of a weekend car for you. But yeah, highly recommended. This is coming from someone that's owned a Nissan GTR. I've owned a GT3 RS, an M5. What was it? F10 M5. Oh, before I forget, the transmission. Gosh, sorry. That should have been on the pros list. So the con of it is that you can't get a stick shift, but I think that what I heard is they didn't make a manual transmission that could hold this much power. Whatever. It's a dual clutch automatic transmission, paddle shifters. You can't shift it anywhere else other than the paddle shifters. That's kind of a bummer. That's a con to me. Like, I really like my Porsche's PDK in how I could shift with the stick up and down. I really like that feeling. It kind of brought me in a place somewhere between manual and automatic. So this doesn't have that at all. And it's got this funky dial thing. I don't like the dial that much, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. But the transmission's really good. Like, as far as being a fast shifter and feeling good, I've started to become more of a snob about how transmissions feel. And for instance, an RS6 Avant I had recently felt terrible. The transmission was a ZF 8-speed automatic. I hated it. I won't get into that. I drove the same transmission basically recently on the M5 CS and the regular base M5, and the base M5 to me felt very similar to the RS6 Avant. I did not like the base M5 very much. Whereas the M5 CS, I think there must be a special tune on the ZF transmission, and it feels more like a dual clutch. But the Porsche PDK is far and away better than everything else. I did like the GTR transmission I had that was also dual clutch. That was really good. It's very grindy and raw feeling, and I liked that a lot. It was good. But the Porsche PDK is light years ahead of everything else, in my opinion, just as far as the feel goes. But this is good. This is really good. And I would say one thing I don't like about the M5 CS, if I get one, is the transmission. It's good, but I would much rather have a dual clutch transmission, and I would take the Porsche PDK and the M5 CS as my first choice. I would take the Nissan GTR as my second. I would take this as my third. I would take the BMW DCT that was on the F10 M5 as my fifth, and then the ZF would be like my last choice, because it's okay, but I don't like it that much. So I think that's a good place to wrap up the video. If I think of some stuff, maybe I'll add some stuff to this video later. All right, guys, see you later. Bye. Wish me luck. Okay, so I realized I didn't really do any filming of driving, and so I've got the camera set up facing forwards. I've got the microphone set up facing backwards. Right now, my windows are up, and also the BMW dealership that I'm going over to try to trade this car in for the M5 CS just called me, and they're not sure if the car sold, which I know is a funny thing to say, but they don't know where the sales guy doesn't know where the car is. So it may be gone, and I'll just turn around and I'll have a video for you guys. But anyway, I'm gonna roll the windows down, and I'm currently just in normal mode. Everything, exhaust is not open or anything. It's just normal mode. It's not even sport mode. All right, and also people in front of me are driving really slow. And there are lots of cops outside for some reason. There's 2 more cops. I feel like I need to pull over and start this over and get a little bit more open space here. I'm gonna fake turn left. All right, we're fake turning left. And then now look, I'm changing my mind. I'm going back. So again, hopefully you can hear that really well. And that's just normal mode, not sports exhaust, not track exhaust, no special tune. There's a bunch of modes here in the car, right? I'm just normal mode right now. So now I'm gonna switch it to what's called my mode, and I have that all set up. That has track exhaust and traction control, I think, is off, and all sorts of other stuff. So the only problem is I don't want to be spacing it. I'm gonna fake turn. Oh, even better, stop light. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, so yeah, we do have the car here. It's at Vista. Someone else is seeing it at Vista, and yeah, no, it's available. And just come in and we'll do something with the trade and make it work for you.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Because Vista, you guys are like the same dealership.
Yeah,
right
we'd
now,
say.
right?
Yeah,
So
same
I'll go to
ownership.
the new Carlsbad location eventually. I was told.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah, I actually went over there and test drove a base M5 a week ago because I wanted to see it. I was hoping that I would like the base M5 enough to save half the money, you know, and I didn't like it. So anyway.
Well, I get it.
Yeah. Okay, so I should still bring my car to you though in
Yeah.
Encinitas, right?
Yeah, the GT500.
Got it. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll be there
Alright,
in
see you soon.
10 minutes or something.
All right.
Yep.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Alright, so one of the things I like about this car a lot that I didn't think about earlier is that it sounds really good even when you're driving slow. If you have the track exhaust mode turned on, you get a nice like low rumble all the time, even at like 1,000 RPM. And if you time some shifts correctly or some downshifts or some decel, sometimes you can get some nice pops. Hear those downshifts right there. I have not been driving in manual mode. I've just been driving in auto, mainly because I keep getting phone calls coming in while I'm trying to film this video. So we're now in manual mode. That sound. I hope it sounded as good for you as it did for me, because on my end it sounded so good that it made me not want to sell it. It's loud. It is loud. I watched a YouTube video recently of a person getting pulled over by cops in Northern California, and he was driving a Hyundai N something or other. I can't remember what it was called, but it comes from the factory with a track mode that gives some pops and bangs, I guess. And the cop gave him so much grief over it, like telling him it's gonna be $7,000 to have his car like taken apart and put back together or something, just because of this ticket he's gonna give him, and that you're not allowed to drive it. Oh yeah, it was that he's gonna have the track mode removed from the car, and it's gonna cost $7,000. I'm pretty sure that's not gonna stand up in court, but pretty funny to hear it. The cop was really excited about giving this guy this ticket. Even I thought it was pretty much a big jerk move on the cop's part. Around here where I live, Carlsbad, San Diego area, cops are really nice. I've been pulled over a couple times for driving a little bit too fast, and I've been given warnings, and both cops were very nice and supportive and seemed to be car enthusiasts and said like nice car, and just try to keep it more chill and whatever. And one guy told me, if you're gonna drive like that, do it on the freeway. I thought that was a pretty funny thing to say. But yeah, I don't know if I'm probably gonna cut out part of what I was recording earlier where I was on the phone with the guy from the BMW dealership, but I'll tell you what he said. So I had already mentioned that he was worried the car was gone because it wasn't at his dealership, and it turns out they drove the car to another BMW, like a sister location, whatever you want to call it, brother, sister location, and there was someone that wanted to see the car there. I thought that was a little odd. Why wouldn't you just have the customer drive to your dealership? It's only like 20 minutes away, but the car is somewhere else, so I'm driving to the Encinitas dealership. The car's in Vista, and if we do the deal, I guess I'm gonna leave my GT500 there and go pick up the M5 CS at their Vista location. I don't know, it's just kind of weird. If we do the deal, it's gonna end up wasting some of my time, but that's fine. Well, we're getting fairly close to the dealership. I don't think I have much more else to say other than just giving you more of the same sounds you already heard. So I think I'm gonna cut the video now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed some of those polls, and see you again in the next one.
This is Alex from the future, and congratulations if you've watched 28 minutes of me babbling about my GT500 and if I might sell it. The meeting at the dealership went perfectly. I said I wanted $80,000 for my GT500, and they accepted that. I'm sure I could have got $10,000 more if I would have put it up for sale on Auto Trader and other places, but who knows how long that would have taken. And yeah, I thought it was just a good way to do the deal, get the deal done. So we got the deal done, and the GT500 is gone. So the next video you'll see is going to be either me talking about my M5 CS, or it's going to be me talking about selling my M3, I should say E90 M3, which I filmed that today. I just don't know when I'll post it. I've not filmed anything with my M5 CS yet, but I will tell you, I have absolutely no regrets about selling my GT500 and buying the M5 CS. So if you're interested in buying GT500, I still highly recommend the car. It's a great car, and I hope you get one for a good price. See you soon.